Hello everyone, Isabel here. Let us rise a little higher today and welcome back to another episode of the Love Lead Succeed podcast. And today I want to talk about the pillar that I received the most questions from. It is cultivating unshakable self-trust. And it's not something that I dedicated a full chapter on in my book. It's really a thread that runs through nearly every chapter in my book, but especially where I talk about the power of positivity and also when I talk about building trust and respect with other people. Because the truth is, you cannot build real trust and respect with anyone else until you have built it with your own self first. So for most of my career, I trusted everyone else's judgment before my own. A boardroom full of opinions could talk me out of an instinct I had held for weeks. So someone with less experience than me, or who had been in the industry for a fraction of the time I had been, could say four sentences with enough certainty in their voice, and I would fold. I told myself that it was just humility. I told myself I was being a team player, being coachable, being easy to work with. It was not humility. It was a quiet erosion of the one relationship that really sets up everything else. The relationship with my own self, which is the most important relationship of all, right? And here's what nobody tells you about the erosion. It does not happen in one dramatic moment. It happens in 1,000 of small ones. It happens when you say, oh, that's a great point. Or instead of, I actually see it, differently. It happens when you rewrite an email 11 times to soften an opinion that did not need to be softened in the beginning. It happens so slowly that one day you look up and you generally do not know what to think anymore. Only what you suspect other people want you to think. So self-trust does not arrive as confidence. That is the biggest misconception I hear from the women I coach. And they're waiting to feel confident before they will act. It does not work in that order. Self-trust arrives as evidence, and every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you are making a deposit. Every time you override your own read on a situation or your own opinion to please someone else, you make a withdrawal. And most of us have been withdrawing for years without ever checking the balance. 25 years in senior marketing leadership taught me that executives who last are not the ones with the most credentials. They are the ones with the cleanest resume, or they're not the ones with the most impressive titles either. They are the ones who can hear their own voice clearly enough to act under pressure when the room disagrees, and when the data is complicated or difficult, and when there's no one left to ask. So in my book are 3 moments that that rebuilt mine. And let me take you a little deeper into each one, because I think the specifics matter more than the summary. So the first was a meeting. I remember exactly where I was sitting. I had done the work, I had the data, and I had read on the market, and that contradicted what 3 people more senior than me believed. And for weeks I had been quietly gathering the courage to say it. And in that meeting, I finally said that I actually believed instead of what was safe. And my voice shook. I remember that. But I said it. And even though the room did not immediately agree with me, something in me changed permanently in that moment. I had proven to myself that I could survive disagreement, that the sky did not fall. How about that, eh? And the second was the year I left a title I had worked 15 years for. 15 years. Anyone who has climbed that long inside one industry knows what that title represents. It was not just a job, it was an identity, a level of security, a story I told about myself at dinner parties. And my God would not stop objecting. It was not loud, it was not dramatic, it was just persistent, like a low hum underneath everything else. I ignored it for over a year before I finally listened. Walking away from something I had built for a decade and a half with no guarantee net underneath me was the most disorienting thing I have ever done. You know, leaving a company after over 23 years is scary. And the third was the morning I started this company on nothing but a conviction on how I could achieve it. I did not have a year plan. I did not have, everything lined up or a roster of clients. I just had myself, my thoughts, and a business plan I just built on my own. And I just decided to move forward. And sometimes it's all about really taking the first action. You don't always have to have everything figured out, but you need to take actions. And that moment of, leaving the corporate world and building my own company and completely reinventing myself at the age of 47 after I spent, so many years, 23 years with the same company, was really eye-opening and helped me rebuild my self-confidence. You cannot be waiting to become confidence, to trust yourself. You build the trust first in small moments, and confidence is simply what it feels like on the other side of enough deposits. I think of a woman I worked with recently in one of my coaching sessions, brilliant, decades of experience, and she opened our first call by telling me she had not trusted a single decision she had made in over a year. And by our third session, after she had made 3 small decisions purely on her own without polling 6 people first, she said something I will never forget, really. She said, "I forgot I was allowed to just know things." That sentence stays with me because I think so many high achieving women are walking around having forgotten exactly that. You are allowed to just know things. We're all like born with unlimited, intelligence and capable of so many things. And here's my cat. And I need you to hear this clearly. It's not about a character flaw. It's about it's not about a personality defect. It's not a proof that you are not cut out for the level you are operating at. It's a skill that you need to build under pressure, under the outside world, and skills can be rebuilt, really. Start with one decision this week where you follow your own read instead of outsourcing it. It does not have to be enormous. It can be as small as trusting your instinct in a single email, in a single meeting, where you would normally ask 3 people before you ask yourself. Notice how it feels afterwards. So just trust your own gut, your own soul, and make a deposit and repeat and do it again. And every time you'll repeat, you'll make another deposit. And this is exactly the work we go deeper on inside my Executive Renewal Reset workshop on July 28th at 3 p.m. in Toronto. And maybe this podcast will be published by the time I host this seminar, but this is certainly not my last one. But if you want other tools that are available to you, you can ask me for my renewal guide. It's free. Just send me a DM on Instagram or LinkedIn under Isabelle Tremblay or at Love Lead Succeed. And I want you to know I've been in your shoes before, and building safe self-trust, Unshakeable one, is, I think, a constant work that you'll need to continue throughout your life, throughout your career. But the more you do it, the more it will become automatic. But if I can just a few last words, like please choose yourself first, love yourself, and learn to fully trust yourself because you are fully unlimited. And I believe in you. I love you. And I'm so grateful for the time you spent with me today. And until our next video or my next podcast, I want to tell you to continue to believe in yourself, grow, shine, and live with Love Lead Succeed. Thank you so much for being there and see you next time.